This is the living quarters of sweatshop labor just outside of Beijing. And under the current model of globalization, the corporate-controlled model of globalization, this will be your future home, or something like it. In Canada, you may need a little bit more insulation, perhaps. But this is where they intend for us to go, and these are the people we're competing against. Can you compete against Uruguay that produces cattle for 1/3 of the price that you can produce here in Canada? And people need to know where their food comes from so that they can support a local farmer, or at least a national food system and local food system. We have to restore competitive markets, fair competitive markets, not markets that are lion and gazelle kind of markets where you have to die to survive, but markets that will maintain a fair income at your farm and ranch gate and take into consideration what your costs are in this country as far as labor and environment and other things. You've done a piece in Canada and you helped sponsor it called Compare the Share. The picture is before you of what's happening to your farm income as your expenses increase. The United States has been asked, and several organizations in the United States have been asked to do the same thing and do something similar. Nobody stepped up to do it. So we look at yours, and we use your data to show how we're doing in the United States as farmers. We have to restore competitive markets somehow, some way. I don't care if we litigate, which I did, against IBP, eventually became Tyson. And I met John Tyson at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association meeting at the same time as they were buying IBP, and I introduced myself as Mike Callicrate. I'm a plaintiff in the lawsuit against IBP, and he said, "What lawsuit?" And I said, "Well, it's one based on the Packers and Stockyards Act of 1921. It's supposed to protect farmers and ranchers from monopoly control in the meat business." "Oh, I know all about the Packers and Stockyards Act." And I said, "Yes, I know you do. You know how it wasn't properly enforced, or you wouldn't be where you are in the chicken business." And he said, "Why don't you sue Walmart? They're the problem." And he's right. Walmart is the problem, but we can't sue Walmart because we're indirectly affected, and the Illinois BRIC statute, federal statute, says we can't. We have to deal with that, and we have to take back. We have to take back, and I've got a piece that I want to provide to you. I'm going to hand it out, or I'll leave it up here somewhere. But last week we had a meeting in Colorado Springs on free trade and globalization, American opportunity or risk to economy and security, and I can make that available. I think we made a lot of progress, and there was a lot of people there. Thank you.
Mike, you mentioned something about the United States Department of Agriculture and employees that they have that are also employees of big agribusiness interests. Now, I think I've read something about that on the Comstock report, but I'm intrigued how you can have people from big corporate business working in government agencies and influencing things, and by gosh, I hope that isn't happening in Canada, but tell us how it works in the United States.
We, OCM, Organization for Competitive Markets, that held the conference last week that they're going to put out some handouts for you. The last conference we did was based on the revolving door at USDA. The report's name is USDA Inc., USDA Incorporated. And basically what we defined and identified in the report was the revolving door from big business industry into the USDA and back again. And when I tell you that the meat packers are the bosses at USDA, agribusiness are the bosses at USDA, I am totally serious about that. And we identified that in the report. If you go to competitivemarkets.com, you can pull down that report. But it's simply unacceptable.
A question for Mr. Callicrate. In the last couple of weeks, some major changes happened in your government in that the Democrats now control the House of Representatives. How do you think that might affect the farmers in the U.S., and how do you think that might affect farmers in Canada?
I think the changes in the last election are very positive, and I think they restore hope to many people that are on the farms and ranches and the people that work as laborers in manufacturing and many other areas of our economy. I think we put people back into Washington to a large extent that will represent the people. And to the extent that we can enforce laws that are currently on the books frameworks, like mandatory price reporting, like country of origin labeling. If we can raise the basic wage of the poorest in our society, it helps the economy overall. And I believe that as markets improve in the United States, Canada directly is affected and also benefits from that.